Good morning, afternoon, evening. Hello, everybody. Let's see who we have so far. We have Secondhand Samurai and Secondhand Samurai. You like to get an early start on things, I guess, huh? Siobhan is wrapping up. I know. I was over there a second ago. And I think Delian is gaming his way through the gap that we had in the schedule, or at least published schedule. So I have to remember to thank either or both of them, and assuming that they will be raiding here shortly. We'll give them a minute or two before we really get started. How are you doing, Secondhand, if you're out there actually listening? There's D. Okay. Oh, he gave up. Well, good morning, Delian. Welcome. You had to end it. How come? Game end, or what happened to you? Oh, I love this lag. There we go. We're getting interrupted. Too many people in the house. So yeah, that'll do it. I know my son is an avid gamer, and he locks himself in his room, and hopefully tries to avoid his interruptions that way. Um, but it doesn't always work. He has two parents that'll nag at him every once in a while. Hey, we have company. Come see them. Bang, bang, bang. But all right. Well, let's see. Today, my voice is cracking already. Today, I'm personally going to be working on. Oh, here comes the raid. I knew it would start as soon as I started talking. Welcome, raiders. Let's see who we have there. We need to see more raid calls than just one. There's got to be somebody else out there. Here we go. Black Maggot, welcome. Secondhand, welcome again, in case you didn't hear the first welcome I gave you, because I think you were hosting. Who else do we have? Oh, World Anvil hosting now. That's always nice. Siobhan, are you out there yet, or are you still switching over? There's Siobhan. Siobhan, I want to extend a special thanks for filling, for staying on and holding that gap. There was, I think the calendar had a 2-hour gap between the end of the scheduled end of your stream and the beginning of this one, which, if my math serves me correctly, means you were going for 4 hours this morning. So thank you on behalf of the Streamer Corps for keeping everything going. I heard the tail end of yours, though. You can after a job well done, you can go off and try to get a little rest now, get a little sleep. We got a long day ahead of everybody's got a long day ahead of them. So, as I was going to start to say, yesterday's stream I started working on my technology article. I got a whole bunch of words down, and over the course of the day, I was looking at them, and I got even more words down, and looking at it, not that the stuff I put down is not going to end up there, but I just didn't like the way the whole article was flowing, and I'm going to have to gut the whole thing and kind of go at it again, which is surprisingly the first time that's really happened to me with the summer camp prompts. I'm not going to trouble everybody with watching me go through that, because it's going to be ugly and messy. So I'm going to go ahead with my original plan for today, which is to tackle the condition for which there is a cure. article. So that's what I'm going to be working on. What is everybody else going to be doing during the next 2 hours? Writing, lurking. If you're writing, what article do you think you're going to tackle? Thank you for the host, Black Maggot. Siobhan, you just finished the cure article. Interesting. What was your condition and cure? Kaleidoshe. I need to find out how you pronounce that name. By the way, I'm pretty good on the first part. I'm not sure what you do with the last half of the name, pronunciation-wise. But you're going to be working on the settlement that is renowned for a particular product. Good. Siobhan, your condition was aging, huh? There's a condition that we'd all like to see fixed. Oh, cured by magical means. Yeah, okay. AJ, welcome. Glad to see you. At whatever time of day this is for you. So we are going to be doing some writing sprints today. I have actually gotten, it's pronounced Kaleidoxe. All right, Dexy, hard K. Okay. Kaleidoxe. That'll be closer anyway, I guess. When we do start the writing streams, right up there in the top corner, way up above my head, you will actually finally see a timer that will be tracking everybody. For AJ, it's morning 1 a.m. Yeah, I guess that's morning. 1 a.m. puts you. You're somewhere in the Asia region, then certainly. I'm not sure exactly where, and I don't know that you need to tell us. But you're somewhere out there in Tomorrowland, actually. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. or 1 a.m. 10 a.m. So if you're 10 a.m., then you're East Coast like me. Okay. All right. So. My bad, extra zero. All right. So without further ado. Those of you who are not writing, enjoy the nice, calm, quiet Sunday morning music, whether it's Sunday morning for you or not. Those of you who are writing, get yourself set up, get ready, and we're going to jump right into sprint number 1 as soon as I remember to turn off the alerts on my phone so they don't be dinging and winging while we're all having fun together here. Siobhan, yes, you shall be lurking and possibly falling asleep. Like I said, you put your 4 hours in, get the sleep you need. Sir Lamsalot, one of my playtesters. Good morning, sir, to you. And AJ will be writing in a few. Okay, well, catch up when you can. We're going to do at least a couple of streams. The other thing we will be doing is I will read a few articles. If anybody has any articles out there that they want read off. Black Maggot is going to bed. Yeah, been up since midnight and all morning. Okay. I guess you're entitled. If anybody does have an article that they'd like me to read, you can do the channel point redeem thing. I'll probably read it anyway, but if you do the channel point redeem thing, I'll be able to find it a lot easier. So that's there. By the way, sometime later today, I'm hoping to actually get my channel point icon enabled. So anybody that joins me on Tuesday should actually see a little Dino track down there where it says Dino Tracks. All right, so if everybody is ready, let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to I'm going to try starting the timer when I say go. I will ask You guys, if once I say go, let me know if the timer actually appears up in the top corner. If it does, great, and if it doesn't, then we'll immediately go to the phone timer backup. I don't have an alarm signal on the timer, so keep an eye out. It'll say time's up, you know, real big and large anyway. But so we'll get going from there. It is early in the morning, and I have not had enough of my cafe yet. All right, so without further ado, 3, 2, 1, let's write. Priests of the orc god. Let me see if I can remember his name. There's a button for this, isn't there? Create a new. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm losing time. Set them up in there. There he is. It's too quiet. I hope you guys can hear the music. Oh, the timer is up. Good, thank you. I'm sure you guys are hearing the music. I can't, the way I have my setup up, so it is dead quiet for me. So if I mumble to myself as I go, I hope it doesn't distract you. The wasting was brought about by a curse spread across the land by the priest of the orc god Gaharach the Render, with a blight that destroyed all plant life it touched and poisoned the soil. So no life would grow there again. He hoped to ultimately let me kill a run-on sentence before it begins here. beasts. And the edges. Forgot something important here. Oh, that'll be mentioned up top, okay. The Orc Priest began by spreading the curse along the edges of the Seven Red Forest, in which the Elves and Heroes concentrating. Okay. How we doing timer-wise? I can't see that either. I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that real quick. Oh, time's up. Does that say time's up? Does everybody see time's up? No, 2 minutes to go. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out a way for me to make sure I can see my own timer. Okay. Start covering here. Okay, somebody yell out, by the way, in the chat when the timer runs out, because like I said, I'm not seeing it. There was one little oversight on my part. I need to make sure I can still see it someplace, too. From the mightiest tree to the humblest mosses. Where the flora? As the flora died. As a result. We gotta be running out by now, right? Seconds, okay. Yeah, definitely gonna have to work out something there. I'm gonna wait for the clock to run out, I think. And it is time, okay. Alright, is everybody done? Pens down. Everybody hit your save, even though autosave has been working beautifully. I have to thank Dimmy for that, by the way. That should turn off the timer. Thank you, Sir Lamsalot, for keeping track. As I mentioned, those of you who don't recognize the name, Sir Lamsalot is one of my long-time game players and now play testers in the world of Carterion. Since he's not writing, you get to watch the clock, I guess. He is, however, doing another very, very, very important service for me, and that is speccing out a new computing rig that will be replacing the 12-year-old fossil that I'm working on right this minute. Thank you very much. I did a quick look over everything today, this morning before starting. I might be ordering that stuff as early as today. I just have to check on a few things. It looks like you got a nice case that'll fit where it needs to fit. Archaic piece of antiquated equipment, not fossil. Oh, I'm a dinosaur. It's a fossil. So, but hopefully a lot of my problems will be solved then, because the new rig will have 2 monitors, so I will be able to do things like see my timers, and without having to pop stuff up and down on the screen and interrupt what you guys are seeing. So it should be a much better life once that new rig comes in, sometime in the next few weeks or whatever. So how did everybody do on the sprint? Let me see how I did. Oh, that's right. The one trick with the autosave now, if you want to check your words, you actually have to hard refresh your screen, because whereas the save button used to actually force a full refresh for you, the autosave does not, and neither does the save button force a refresh anymore. So you need to do that, though, so your metadata will show your actual word count. And I got 286 words out of my required 300. Of course, 74 of those were meta words from BB code and things. So I've got a little ways to go. How did anybody else do? Isaac, good morning, or good afternoon, or evening for you. I guess it might be morning. Can you count your homework as your sprint word count? Sure, why not? Yeah, is it morning there yet? In Isaac's case, we're talking about Monday morning, not Sunday morning. No, it's the middle. Well, it's what, middle of the night or late night for you, I guess now. I don't know. One day I'll get all the time zones straight in my head. "50 words more, a lot of thinking and rewriting in the process." Yeah. For me, I know where my article is going today, but so I'm not too worried about this one. Like I said, the one I started yesterday, I started going. I got lots of good words down, but they're in all the wrong order and structure, and I'm gonna have to rip it apart. One thing I did do before I started today on this article is I went through, and normally I do this on screen during the stream, but this time I did it ahead of time. I went through the entire template for this, and because it is the condition template, it spends a lot of time talking about all of the details of the condition, and most of the template pieces are designed for a condition affecting human, if not other animal life. It talks about prognosis and disease progression and all this other kind of stuff. Because we're trying to keep our word count somewhere closer to 300 than 3,000 for the summer camp prompts, and because the focus of the prompt is not just the disease but also the fact that it is being cured, I kind of went through and realized that the headers as is were probably not going to be, although again they're good for inspiration. The structure of the article would have been a complete mess if I just used the headers as is. So I went through and plucked out the pieces that I knew I wanted to do, and just set up header spaces up in the vignette section. So all of the writing for this guy is going to be in either in the vignette or the sidebars. And as you can see, what I did was set up, I mean, from the sprint, I have a few things filled in here now, but I set up the 4 areas that I'm going to be filling, that I'm going to be working on to answer the quote or to answer the prompt. Once I have a little more idea of this, I'll be able to summarize it in the vignette. And of course, I have to have my patented open and closing wisecrack quotes. I'm not sure what those are going to be for this guy yet. And the special extra, I'm going to have to move this around, okay. The extra special thing for my response here, in the main body I will be talking about the actual cure that has been discovered. But in the sidebar, I'm going to be talking about how word of that cure has spread across Carterion much faster than the cure itself is being spread. And as is the case anytime news gets rapidly disseminated, it gets distorted along the way. And because of those distortions and because of impatience and because of excitement about the fact that areas that used to be green and productive and aren't right now can suddenly be green and productive again, and farmers can grow more and all this great stuff, there will be situations where people, having heard of what they thought is the cure, are going to start taking things into their own hands, and that will result in, as it says here, unexpected consequences. Okay, Kaleidosky, 50 words more, lots of thinking and rewriting. Isaac, yeah, a smooth 196 words from your homework, excellent. And sure, midnight is the morning. Okay, it did cross midnight, so you're in Monday. Happy Monday. Okay, does anybody have an article they would like me to read? If not, we'll do another sprint. Have to wait a few minutes for the good old lag to let me know if anybody is answering. So, Sir Lancelot, is this exciting so far? This is it, and don't say I didn't warn you last night. It's exciting for the World Anvil people, I can tell you that. You're not really sure what's going on. We are writing, as you can see, we're writing little bits and pieces about the various worlds that we're all building. In my case, it's the world that you're playing in right now. In other people's cases, there are all kinds of wonderful, fascinating worlds that are being built. Some for novels, as background material for novelists. Some as background materials like mine for role-playing campaign environments, or for other sorts of game-playing environments as well. There are, what is it? I think it's 30,000 members of World Anvil right now. Help me out there, Samurai. What's the current count? Dazzly Cat, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever. I think it's up to 30,000. There are 1,000. I know there's 1,000. I know Janet said there's 1,000 people have submitted at least one article for summer camp. So that means at least 1,000 different worlds getting built, getting heavily actively built. So pardon me if it's a dumb question, but why the timer? Word sprints are just a challenge kind of thing that the writer community likes. It's kind of an enticement to just kind of spit out the basically to just crank stuff out and get it done. The process here is to get stuff down in a first draft. Ideally, you spew now and clean up later. Is the way I like to think of it. The more ideas and thoughts you get down, you can go back and clean them up and tighten it up, as you go along. This summer camp is over the course of July. We are given 33 prompts, that challenge us to define some specific aspect of our world. Some of them are define a character. That, a few of the ones that we've been working on describe a character that that is normally unassuming, but is behind the scenes, pulling the strings on some operation. Describe a city or a town that was destroyed in the past and has been rebuilt since. Describe a technology that has existed in your world for a very long time, and is it lost, or is it is it still affecting the world? That sort of thing. 500,000 registered users now. Oh, okay, it's 20,000 in the Discord server. Okay. Yeah, I thought I remembered seeing 30,000, but who knows? So that's what the whole summer camp thing is about. And by the end of this, we will each have 33 little bits and pieces that we've hopefully focused on the piece of the world that is most important to us being done right now. Those articles, these articles themselves, become seeds. In your case, I can tell you some of the ones I've done now, you will be encountering in the third adventure arc that you play, which didn't exist in my head until the articles came up and I responded to them during summer camp. Some of the aspects of the earlier articles you will be encountering in your second adventure arc, which will be starting in a week or two. If not the second, then definitely the third. So it's kind of a prompt to push things going. And again, the timers, the prompts themselves, we have to respond with at least 300 words. The software itself has a word counter. It's a crude word counter, very much like the one that's embedded even in Microsoft Office. It looks for punctuation and spaces and gaps things out. Which is why, for example, we say 300 words minimum. I shoot for at least 400, because I know that at least 100 of my words are actually going to be formatting code that really don't affect anything. And so you get some other responses in here. Yeah. Secondhand Samurai, the timer is for helping people box out time for writing while hanging out. Helps with getting stuff done. Like I said, these little short we call them words or writing sprints or word sprints. It's, okay, focus, get your attention for 10 minutes, spit out. Some people do 5 minutes, some people do 15-minute sprints or 20 minutes. To me, a 20-minute sprint is not, 20 minutes isn't a sprint, it's a middle distance. But that's personal preference. I kind of like 10. Yeah, the number of registered users is definitely out of date. You're pulling from a Discord from last October. Wow. I know we've had a lot of new people join in the, especially in the early summer. I think a lot of people. I think when COVID locked a lot of people up in their houses, a lot of people turned to old hobbies and old dreams about writing, and a lot of them have found this software. So the numbers have definitely really gone up. So the short answer, I guess, to your question, Sir Lancelot, about what this is all about is you're watching the creative process at work, not just for me, but for anybody else that's following along. And, obviously they're not all on this stream, but somewhere in this wide world, there are somewhere between, I can comfortably say somewhere between 1 and 100,000 other people that are, again, creating alternate realities, either for books or for their own pleasure or for games, some of which will be out there. There, by the way, are definitely some published writers as part of this community. There are some published game folk as part of this community. Some of the best map makers I have ever seen are part of this community. There's a lot of varied talent, and the community is wonderful and very supportive and helpful. It's it's a lot of fun. Have to be careful not to get sucked too deep into it though. To keep that's the challenge I think that everybody has. And folks in the chat, please feel free to agree or disagree. It's real easy to get so sucked down into this that you forget what it is you have to do. And I'm constantly balancing between, I know what I want to see in the world. A lot of us call it J.R.R. Tolkien disease. Where you forget the fact that you're actually trying to write a book or build a game, and you get so hung up in building the lore of your world that you end up with, volumes of lore that nobody's going to ever see. So that's a challenge that we all have to face. No need for world builder syndrome, yeah. But at the same time, it's a great place to put down ideas that you can come back to later. The article formats are very well designed to help you consolidate your ideas and at least have them in a place where you can come find them later. Sharon Beatty, I would never have gotten this far as have without the community. AJ, no need for world builder syndrome. World builder's disease, yeah. There's a few different names for it. Tolkien's disease, world builder's disease, world builder's syndrome. The other disease, yes, exactly. I was just about to mention the other disease that we face is one that one of the co-founders of World Anvil refers to as the Elven Shoe Syndrome. And this is when you start getting so into your lore that you start describing in excruciating detail the footwear that the elves in your world wear, when nobody really cares about that, and it's never going to impact anything that you're actually doing with the world. So if you ever see if you see references to elven shoes pop up in the chat, that's what that's all about. Although I am lobbying to actually have a prompt, a number 34 bonus prompt for summer camp that is describe the elven footwear in your world. Just so that Janet has to look at 1,000 articles on elven shoes. I think that would be fun. What do you guys think? Just to, even if all it is that she knows there's 1,000 elven shoe articles somewhere out there on her servers, I think that would be fun. All right, let's get ready for another. I didn't see any. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any requests for readings. Nope. Okay, good. Nobody did anything last night that they want us to look it over? If I remember the first time we run into elves in our campaign. Don't you have one in the party? Or at least a half-elf? You could ask the half-elf, too. Alright, seeing no requests for reading yet. I will, but that's not my design. Good point. I'll have to make sure that the first time you encounter elves, I describe their shoes. Alright, seeing no requests for reading, let's move on with another writing sprint so that we can all at least get some more work done. So if everybody is ready, in 3, 2, 1, go. And again, I will trust that the timer did start. Well, let's get started here. This sentence and this next one here. Don't forget, folks, you can remind me to hydrate. Sometimes I need those reminders. I get hung up in this writing too. Recently, haven't figured out what I'm gonna call the person who will become famous for having cured the wasting. Single special ingredient to finally defeating the curse and the wasting. That ingredient essence of life that Burdea when he first created the plants and animals and Fey creatures of the world. Is a drop. Is but a single drop of Fey blood. But only drop of blood freely given by a Fey creature who desires to see the world as Berdea intended it. What's his name even speculates that the areas where wasting is to have lost its effects over the years. Are areas where battles between Fey and the Dark Armies, which is something I can link to. Battles between the Fey and the Dark Armies. Spilling Fey blood. That will take care of that. How's our timer looking? 14 seconds to go. I think I'll stop writing there. And do my save. And my refresh. And that should probably be enough for time. Yes, it is. Okay. Pardon me just 1 second. The allergies are starting to act up again. Despite my best efforts. Okay, how did people do this time around? Let's see, I had about 280 words, I think, before I started. Now I'm up to 572. Okay, I'm in good shape. I still have more to write. How did everybody else do? Dazzly Cat, yay, finished, 29. 29 words and now you're done with the article? Or you got 29 words done and you're happy that that's it? Isaac, 120 words of a prompt article this time. Yay. Did you finish your homework, by the way, or just give up on it for now? Dazzling Cat finished prompt number 29. Very good. Again, Sir Lancelot, for your benefit, these I mentioned there were 33 prompts given out. They were given out in batches. On July the 1st, 10 prompts were put out. On July the 10th, 10 more. On July the 20th, 10 more. So people working at one prompt a day are in pretty good shape. The real fun is going to be the fact that the last 3 prompts will be put out on July the 30th, and they must be submitted by 2 p.m. or sorry, by what, 7 p.m. I think, Greenwich Mean Time on August 1st. So even if people are keeping up, we're gonna have 2 days to do 3 prompts at the very, very end of this. Isaac, I finished the part of it that I said I had to before I could work on an article. There we go. It was submitted to whom? Actually, the submission process is kind of vague. Again, the main purpose of this is to get us all to write. It's not really a contest. Having said that, there are badge awards that will go on our profiles, which are considered major accomplishments here. Completing 10 prompts will get you a bronze badge or a copper badge. Have we ever officially decided whether it's bronze or copper? Having completed 20 gets you silver, 30 gets you gold, and all 33 gets you diamond. Those articles, for that purpose, are generally not they're not reviewed or read by a judging panel. It's kind of just self whatever. However, a number of the prompts and each of those award bands have been sponsored either by companies that are sponsoring World Anvil, or by individual members of the community that are willing to put up, that have sponsored individual specific prompts. And in those cases, there are either drawings, in the case of the corporate sponsors, there are drawings like everybody who completes silver goes into a prize pool, and there will be actual awards randomly selected out of that pool. But if you're selected, now your articles will actually be reviewed to make sure that they legitimately hit the 300 words, that they legitimately answered the prompts, that you didn't just go into every prompt and type la 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 300 times. Other than that, one of the things, again, that's happening, and it encourages the community, is as we're all going through this, and I'm hoping that somebody will throw up an example here, somebody who has completed an article and who would like to get some feedback on it. We've all been on all of these streams. There's quite a lot of reading of each other's articles, and some of it is for, check my grammar, check my spelling. We have a lot of folks from non-native English-speaking countries, some of whom are writing in their native languages, but most of whom are writing, at least the ones that we're seeing here, are writing in English. So there's some some English as a second language training that goes on in some cases. Sometimes it's for ideas and thoughts too. Somebody will, I've written half an article and I'm not sure how to finish it or whatever, and we basically will all read the article together, and then the chat community will start throwing ideas out and suggestions and recommendations, and as a result, everybody ends up with a we all get ideas from what we read, from what we see, and the people whose articles they are get positive feedback on the articles to make them better writers, to make their world better. Sharon Beatty is terrified of doing it. Oh, you should go for it. And mine is a good stream to do it because there's not an awful lot of people here. Isaac, all articles are checked to make sure you don't cheat. Yeah, like I said, they will at least do that, but it's not like every article is, because again, every article would be 30,000 articles. You're not graded. It's not like an English term paper where you're graded on your content, or whatever. It's the closest it comes to grading is, yes, did you write enough, and did you at least address the prompt? There is a lot of leeway given in how you address the prompts, and there is a lot of creativity that goes on that we're all finding, as you read these. And there we go. We have our first submission finally, so we'll get a chance to see how that works. Let me bring that up. I'll put it here. And this is another condition article. Excellent. Oh, we're We're having trouble finding that site. Did I not? Let me try it the legitimate way. Hold on. It might be me. Don't worry. Nope. Problem loading page. Server not found. That's interesting. Do you have... oh, do you have an extra... Worked Danville. Oh, I see it. Okay, I can fix that. I can deal with that. Okay. I like the name of the condition already. Now, is this the condition or the condition that has been cured? Oh, you do have a cure on the sides. Okay. So we'll be doing that. Okay. The title of the article is Poxuponme. The author of the article is Dazzly Cat or Dazzlin Cat, by the way. Are you guys hear Dazzlin Cat on World Anvil? So let's see. Poxuponme is a terrible disease called by a pox pug, a chubby little demon a foot or two long that can weigh as much as 50 pounds. This nasty little demon likes to creep into places where mortals tend to gather, inns, feasts, and parties are a pox pug's favorite places. Okay. Once it finds a shadowy corner, it gets to work. Croaking silently like a frog, it breathes out its vileness in a hard-to-see vapor that smells faintly of vomit. The vapor spreads quickly for about 10 minutes, then vanishes. Those unlucky who breathe, you might want to just change out a little. The unlucky ones who breathe, I think, would be a little smoother or something along those lines. The unlucky ones who breathe, the unlucky folk who breathe, the unlucky, pick a word you want, who breathe, will find themselves getting horribly sick. As they sicken, the victims can infect others with Poxuponme, and it is not uncommon for whole villages or neighborhoods to become diseased. On the first day, Poxuponme begins to sicken its victims. On the first day Poxuponme begins to sicken its victims, itchy red spots appear on their skin. By the second day, the terrible itching ends, but the spots grow into painful blood blisters and pustules. Oh, this sounds like a pleasant disease. On the third day, they can no longer swallow and will die of thirst after another 4 days of agony and misery. Only clerics of great power can cure this disease by laying on of their hands. The afflicted must be taken to such a cleric before the 7th day of the Poxuponme. Pilgrimages of the desperate to the great temples are terrible sights to see. Pilgrimages of the desperate to the great temples are terrible sights. Seeing the march of the afflicted can cause healthy settlements to put up barriers to keep them out. You might want to put a period actually after terrible sights. Start a sentence with the word seeing, as in seeing the march. Sadly, too many settlements are too far from a great temple. In those places, entire populations can die, much to the delight of the poxpug. The only cure. An order of monks, called the Brotherhood of Bokai, have devoted itself not only to fighting demons and evil magi, but to trying to repair the damage they do. The Brotherhood has found a cure. This cure is an intricate mix of rare ingredients found around the world. With the end of the gateway, I assume the gateway is something in your world you might want to put a link to for the curious like me. The Brotherhood has had to restructure itself so that they have regular expeditions going for each ingredient, diminishing the numbers who can go out and fight. The Brotherhood of Bokai works hard, and thus far they have managed to prevent a pandemic. Okay, like I said, very good. I like it. Very good description of the disease. Definitely not one that anybody wants to catch. you describe the cure here. We'll get to the sidebar in a minute, which actually has the details of the cure. The only other thing, like I said, is a link to the gateway, because that kind of just jumped up, and obviously it's important. Eventually, I assume you would also have an article on the Brotherhood of Bokai themselves, so you would link that too. But for now, you've actually told us enough about the Brotherhood that I don't need to go looking for something else. So let's see what's in this cure. The only cure recipe: 12 sun-dried petals of the frost lily that only grows in the Blue Ice Valley, home of the Northland frost giants. Okay, so that's scary quest number 1. 1 ounce of ground firevine root from the Red Skarg Fire Mountain, home of the Red Skarg Fire Giants. Okay, so we have to take on frost giants. We have to take on fire giants. I see a pattern here. 1 ounce of albino royal jelly from the innermost honeycombs of an albino beehive. Albino bees are the size of men, or man-sized, human-sized. Okay, so they're big, nasty murder hornets. Okay. I assume you might want to throw in, I assume they have nasty stingers. You might want to just mention that, just in case somebody wonders. Bring a teapot of fresh water to boil. Stir in the ground firevine root to the count of 200. Add the sun-dried frost lily pellies and stir them every few minutes until the water cools. Pour the brew into a cup, filling it halfway. Stir in the ounce of royal jelly until the spoon is clean. The victim needs to drink the entire contents of the cup. If the victim can no longer swallow, carefully open the mouth, smear the tongue with the albino royal jelly, then gently press the soggy frost lily leaves on top of the jelly. Allow 3 hours to pass for the swelling to diminish, then feed the victim the entire cup of prepared brew. That last paragraph was absolutely necessary and excellent, because when you went through the trouble of describing that people are going to die of thirst because they can't swallow, and then you created a cure that requires swallowing. So you've already headed off the question of how do you administer the cure once you get to stage 4. So that's an excellent addition, and it kind of rounds out the whole article, I think. Looks good. I like it. A couple of turn of phrase things that I think I mentioned. 1 or 2, again, suggestions for sentence breaks or whatever. Other than that, grammatically clean and thorough. Very good. Let us like it so we know we've seen it. And let us follow your world so we can find out what else is going on in Pangoria or Pangoria. And thank you very much. Now, did anybody else throw one up while I was waiting or hiding? Let's see. Okay, nope, that was Dazzle Cat. Okay, so we can come back to here. Okay, it looks like we're going to get a lot of writing done today. Let's see, just catching up in the chat. Sharon, ooh, nice, yeah. I'm assuming that was the description of the... did I miss something unlucky enough too, Isaac? Oh, good point. Yeah, I think I mentioned those unlucky chaps who bred or something like that. Or was that was someplace else? But yeah, those unlucky enough to who breathe. You probably want to just get rid of the word to, actually, and that will fix that sentence grammatically. I missed that one. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, I haven't done the disease yet. Yeah, you might as well. Well, you've covered the disease pretty thoroughly here. I don't know if you want to go back and use the same disease for the. I know there was another condition article. You could. I mean, just make sure you don't plagiarize yourself too much if you do that. You've done a very effective job of describing the disease here, so um, I guess you could take the other angles or whatever on that one. So look at that. That a lot of that does go on again for those of you who may not be summer campers. There is lots of opportunity to integrate multiple prompts into single scenarios. I have at least 6 different cases where two articles tie into each other, and I have one where there's 3 actually. In fact, my condition, my apex predator, and there was a third one related to those that all tied into one scenario, shall we say. My criminal organization and unimposing individual, behind the scenes individual, that was another pair. I can't talk about that one much more because that's adventure arc number 3 for Sir Lancelot. But some of you have seen and heard those. What else do we have? Anybody else have another article to? No, you're fine, sir. Sir Lancelot. I don't like to read my own articles here. In fact, I will not read my own articles. There is enough opportunity if I want. First of all, I found, and those of you in chat, I'd be curious to see how many more people have this problem too. I will write an article. I will read the article. I will correct the article. I'll read it again, and I will find another mistake or two. I will get to the point where I can read it 5 times through, and I'm convinced all the grammar is right, all the spelling is right, everything is perfect. There's no extra words, like that enough to-who kind of thing, where you started one thought and then changed in midstream. I'm convinced that I've taken care of all of those. I've cleared it all up. It's perfect. I give it to somebody like W.D. Michael, and 3 sentences in, he's finding the first mistakes. I think writer Greg actually had a very interesting suggestion. If you want to, the last run through of your own on your own article is to start at the bottom and read the sentences in reverse order. Because doing that forces you to focus on the sentence and not on the context. And that's what happens when you're reading your own article. You know exactly where it's going. And your brain does you the favor of supplying the words for you from its memory. You're not actually reading them anymore. You're recalling them. And as everybody knows, we all have perfect memories when it comes to our own creations. So his suggestion was, like I said, to read the article literally from the bottom up, sentence at a time from the bottom up. I've never done that. In this community, I find it actually much easier and more thorough to just throw the article out to somebody else to read and let them tear it apart. The other thing to keep in mind, and I know, Sharon, this goes back to you being, you mentioned you were afraid to do it. We are not harshly we're not writing critics. All right, we're not going to finish the review by saying this was a terrible thought or this was a horrible this, or we're doing this to help each other produce better products. So I have yet to hear any, and I'm sure I won't hear, oh, there's WD, look at that, I just mentioned I don't know if you just got on in time to hear me mention your name, or if you were lurking all along. But good morning to you. Again, there are no negative, there are no bad criticisms. All right, everything here is designed to help you improve your product. So if you want your product improved, WD, we're talking about reading each other's articles, and I mentioned that I can go through an article half a dozen times, and I'm convinced I've caught every typo, every grammar error, every extra word. They've all been cleaned up. It's all perfect. I give the article to you, and 2 sentences in, you're finding the first mistakes. All right, and the point being, the best way to clean up your articles is to get somebody else to look at them and read them. And when you hear, even just when you hear it, there's times too. Again, I've read the article and I think it reads perfectly, and I hear somebody else read it, and all of a sudden it's like, no, that's not really the way I wanted to do that. So I mean, even if the grammar and the spelling is perfect, you having somebody else read it will often, give you ideas about how to improve the articles. WD says, yeah, a different viewpoint or a way of thinking on an article in the original author might not have seen. Okay, so Sharon is going to try to do something. What did you post up here? What link is this? I could probably pluck that out. Hold on. I see what you did there. I should be able to do something with that. Normally we like the HTTP link from a view, but if you can't get that, oh, there we go. You did it again. Good. Okay, so let's do another one before we go back to another. We'll definitely have time for at least one more sprint. I did like and follow that one. Good. Again, for anybody else who wants to learn about Poxuponme, there's the link from Dazzlycat. And now let us introduce Sharon Beatty to the wonderful world of Article Showcase. Okay, the Seers of the Dead. I'm guessing this is the outlaw profession. Okay, this is from the Dione world of this is Shazar. Okay. Yes, unfortunately, not all of us could get exact matching names in both Twitch and World Anvil. Okay, so the Seers of the Dead. Perception, social status. Seers of the dead are outcasts. Contacting the dead is said to be taboo, for in death you are at peace with the gods. If you are contacting them, you are taking them from their peace, or they were not worthy of being with the gods. However, many bereaved seek them out. I would, where you have that comma between peace with the gods and if you are contacting, I would actually just make that a period and start a sentence with if. History. Seers of the dead are naturally but rarely born. They tend to develop as other seers, although are usually judged low on the ability to see a person's future. Seeing the dead is not generally tested for, as there isn't a reliable test. The first inkling is when a seer is seen talking to nobody, or they notice people who aren't there. As soon as the Seers of the dead are discovered, they are usually put into a program to try and help them lose this ability, as it has been made unlawful by High King's orders. You want an apostrophe after in Kings there. Actually, you want an apostrophe after the S in Kings because, as I go on, unlawful by High King's orders over 1,000 years ago, or was it one king that made it illegal? If it was one king, then it's G apostrophe S, and you might want to put a the in front of that. If it has been repeatedly restated by subsequent High Kings, then put the apostrophe after the S. That's just a quick there. It is said that the High King's beloved sister, again, you want an apostrophe in there, beloved sister was a seer of the dead, but nothing was done to help her. Her gifts manifested themselves during one of the 30-year wars, when all who died came to her. This is said to have sent her insane with the rage and grief of the thousands who died and tried to kill her brother, the High King, who couldn't stop her without killing her, which is what he ended up doing, and in his grief he declared that all the seers of the dead were to be outlawed, and if they refused treatment, they would be put to death. Very long sentence, but there's a couple of very good quick breakpoints in it. It was said that the High King's beloved sister was a seer of the dead, but nothing was done to help her, period. Again, these are my suggestions. New sentence, her gifts manifested themselves during one of the 30-year wars, when all those who died came to her, period. New sentence, this is said to have sent her insane with the rage and grief of the thousands who died and tried to kill her brother, the High King. You might want to put a period there, and I assume this who is the High King. He couldn't stop her without killing her, which is what he ended up doing, and in his grief he declared that all seers of the dead were to be outlawed. I would put a period there. If they refused treatment, they would be put to death. All right, that'll clean up that whole. I mean, all of the thoughts and concepts are excellent. You just need to give the reader a chance to stop and breathe along the way. Many were put to death when they defied the law. More were again, period, I think. More were put to death when it was thought they were not trying hard enough in the program to be changed, before it was realized that the program didn't work. The death penalty was reduced to imprisonment on committee recommendation. Eventually, a suppressant drug was discovered and tested and found to work, so the seer of the dead now has a choice: imprisonment or take the tablet. Okay, is this a... Let me go back again now. Is this a illegal profession article, or is this a cure? This is the cure for disease article. Because that when that last sentence popped in, okay, it is a legal profession. Okay, since it's a legal profession, you don't need to go any more into the fact that, okay, now we have a drug to cure it, and if you want to take it, you can do it. If this were the cure for a condition article, then, by the way, yeah, I see here, Dazzlecat says he has the same problem with run-on sentences. So do I, which is why I'm sensitive for it. I will do the same thing. I will 4, 5, 6 line sentences. I tend to break things up a little differently, but it's the same problem. All right, yeah, WD, it's been fun. Yeah, got to deal with the minions. Yeah, you have. I know you're West Coast or almost West Coast, so I'm just glad you're here this early in the morning. Take care of the kids, and I'll probably see you. Are you on tonight? If you're on tonight, I'll see you. If not, I'll catch you whenever your next stream is. Okay, alternative names: Death Talkers, Death Seers. That's good. And you have. Okay, this is good. You left yourself a little to-do list. Who found the tablet? Does the tablet merely suppress the abilities? If you haven't done your cure for condition article yet, here's a suggestion. And if you don't have an idea for what to do for it, here's a suggestion. Answer those questions in that article. All right. Instead of wasting a really excellent condition, that can get you 2 articles finished. Maybe I'm not sure. Thank you, though. Okay, yeah, take it easy, WD. So, yeah, like I said, I would suggest you actually move this to-do list into your treatment for a disease article. You can write up the ability to see the dead as your condition, and then you get to focus all you want on the cure. What goes into that tablet. All this other kind of stuff. I mean, if you have enough ideas to deal with that, and yeah, actually the talk, does it suppress the abilities? Does it eradicate the abilities? Those things can all go into that treatment article. So there, you got 2 for the price of 1. So that wasn't too painful, was it? Okay, I didn't see any others come in. Let's jump off to another writing stream now, actually. Oh, I will post this. Again, anybody who wants to read these articles themselves. Oh, by the way, Sir Lancelot, I will tell you that the links that I'm posting here, they are publicly available links. If you click on that link, you will see this article. There are abilities inside of World Anvil to limit whether or not articles are publicly readable, and if they're not publicly readable, you can define specific people by username, that are allowed to read it. That's why I did ask all of you guys to at least get free accounts with World Anvil, because there will be some things that I point you to here, rather than keeping PDFs up in my Discord and all that other stuff that I've been doing in the past. So there are ways. There's also ways inside the articles to actually hide information and selectively release it over time. So there is an article in here, for example, about the mentor. One of the prompts was a religious leader prompt, and Tom, who you recall from our last campaign, and who is in one of the other playgroups, his character's mentor is the religious leader that I wrote about. But since I didn't want him to be able to read all of it yet, I actually had to create a whole separate world, build out the summer camp article in that world, and submit it. And then I basically copy and pasted the whole mess back into my quote-unquote real world, and selectively hid all of the bits and pieces I don't want him to be able to see yet. I couldn't submit that as there was so much of it cut out, I couldn't submit it as an article that way, unfortunately. So I had to play some games to get that to happen. But if he ever found the other link, he'd be able to read it. Okay, so we did that. Before we start the next sprint, I do want to look real quick and see how this article is shaping up in its how my article is shaping up in its final viewing form. Again, I know I have to get back and do those. Okay, this looks good. If I can knock off, I think before I get to reviving the wastelands, I'm going to focus on the unexpected consequences section in the next sprint. Yeah, Sharon, I will go cut up my sentences. Enjoy the word butchery. Yeah, you actually have, again, Sharon, there were very good places to make the breaks. In fact, you put commas in most of the places, so finding the places to break should be easy. But and again, like I said, don't worry about that. Again, get the ideas out on the page first. You're going to hear a lot of different people. You can't edit an empty page. You can't. I mean, I said I've been saying for a few days. The one valuable lesson that drinking has taught me is to spew first and clean up later. It's you got to get the words out, and once they're out, it's a lot easier to clean it up afterward after you get it out. So don't let that get to you. Don't worry about it. Don't be self-conscious about it. Dazzly Cat, one more and you'll be editing till the final drop. Yeah, today I'm going to finish up the article, this article, which I won't finish on stream, but it'll be close from the looks of it. And then I'm going to spend some time today seriously butchering the technology article that I started on stream yesterday. And that just leaves me with one more to get done before the last set of prompts. And it's the one I've been dreading. And that is my legal organization or law outfit or whatever. And the problem I have with that is my core bit of world is a frontier with no organization, organized law enforcement kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to actually reach out beyond. I mean, my world certainly has them, but not in areas that I've given much thought to. So I'm going to have to make something up that someday will become important somewhere in my world. But I'll have to deal with it for now. Although I've been getting some ideas on how I can introduce it even sooner. I mean, that's the other beauty of this is when you start to think about this stuff, it gets, it's amazing what you can end up coming up with. All right, so we are going to launch another sprint. Like I said, I'm going to cheat. It's good to be the king, so I can cheat and get myself ready, get to the right place. We'll start there. Come up. We'll start there. Okay, if everybody's ready, we will begin in 3, 2, 1, go. Where the blight lingers are difficult. More grays. Exciting. Definitely gonna have to come up with a name for this guy. I have to also come up with a race for this guy. Is it gonna be a human that discovered the cure, or a half-elf that discovered a cure? I might actually make it a half-orc that discovered the cure, just to be different and to promote diversity, to show that not all orcs and half-orcs are bad people. The word of so-and-so's discovery. Has begun to race around Carterion. Unfortunately, as is often the case with fast spreading news, the details have been progressively distorted in each retelling. Recently, word of the cure has reached the lands surrounding the Feywood. But the details in the news have brought problems of their own. And that brings us to unexpected consequences. While the true cure calls for a single drop of Fey blood that must be freely given, the distorted details in the news that have reached the frontier suggest that a Fey creature must be captured, killed, and drained of all blood in order to complete the potion that heals the wasting. While the fact that a single batch of potion can restore a full acre of land has the journey to the frontier intact, let's cut off our own run-on sentence before it starts. The fact that a single batch of potion can restore a full acre of land has survived the journey to the frontier land intact. This, coupled misinformation about ingredients, has brought on a this? A desire to round up as many Fae possible in order to improve crops and grazing lands in the north. Needless to say, the Fae are appalled by this development. So that should be fun to expand upon, huh? Hi Fox, we're sprinting. Sharon needs to find a name for your festival. Okay, tell us a little bit about the festival. Oh, I have a hydrate redemption. Tell us about your festival. Maybe we can help you come up with a name for it. It's starting already. Look at that. Hello, Shy Red Fox. Welcome. Yes, we're in the middle of a sprint, or might even be near the end of a sprint. Where are we on the sprint? Let's see. 25 seconds to go on the sprint. Okay, needless to say, the Fae are appalled by this development. They find it hard to believe that these how am I going to say this? Let's do it this way. Favor of curing wasting so. Actually, I'm going to need to throw in a sentence in here that basically says people have actually started trying to do this, and it's definitely not. Hearing. Not yet had a chance to find the real truth. We'll stop it at that for now. I'm sure time is up by now. Is time up by now? Yes, time is up by now. Okay, how did everybody do this time? Again, everybody hit your save buttons, even though we don't need to anymore. Do your refresh. Check your words. And then I'll get back and check the prompt, the chat stream. Tools, metadata. Why did my to-do list open up? I don't want my to-do list. I want metadata. 874 words. All right, well, definitely got enough words. I think that was another 200 and change for me. 100, about 200 anyway. So let's see. Shy Red Fox saying, "Hey Bob, hi Fox, we're sprinting." Nice name. What did I miss a name for? Oh, Dazzly Cat, the Basket Social. Okay, I'll have to find out what that's all about. That could go any of a number of directions. Sir Lancelot, thank you for checking the time. Sharon, it is done around a small group of people who came from another place and bring out some food for some kind of Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's nice and generic enough. Should be able to come up with a name for that. I assume you don't want to call it Thanksgiving. Is this on an anniversary of arrival or first harvest or just, first establishment of a colony? It could be Founders Day, it could be Harvest Day, it could be, or Harvest Week. You could call it Survivor Day if it's like after a year. I'm stuck because my header won't work. What's not working? Shira, yeah, too late to start, but start brainstorming it. That's right. We might actually get one more sprint in before we give up. It depends. I see I have about 15 minutes to go. So, Kaleidosky, first 65 words for a new article for the headquarters prompt. Very good. Everyone is doing that one at what, Thanksgiving or the headquarters article? Dazzling had 0 words trying to think of who will be my unassuming sneaky person. Did you at least come up with some possible ideas? Because if you did, that was 10 minutes well spent. Dazzling had last harvest. Sharon copied and pasted the header from images in World Anvil and pasted it in and nothing happened. The header from images in World Anvil. You're talking about the image links, or oh, okay, and nothing happened. Where did you try to post? Where did you try to paste them? Okay, you're from the clipboard, but I mean, where in the article? In the main body, or in the so let me just go through one of these real quick into the article. Oh, into the cover image thingy. Okay, the cover image, actually you don't cut and paste. What you need to do in the cover image, unless he changed did he change how this works? He changed how it works. Type the image name from your library. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, well, actually, for the article cover, you didn't even need to cut and paste. This used to be a drop down that had a list of all of the articles you have in the you have stored in your images section. That's the way this used to work. You didn't even have to copy and paste. It would actually be here in a drop down list. Type the image name from your library. Okay, did the library change? Is that what he's talking? Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay, just as an example, I'm going to use this one as a test. I have this guy here. If you're looking right in the middle of my screen, I have an article called cafe space cover space 2.png. That's the name of the file. Let's see if this works. Cafe cover. Yes, look at this. Cover. And once you start to do it, you can click on it to bring it up. There we go. Okay, that's new functionality. I don't want that one for this article, but that's definitely new functionality. And now that we all know how it works, it's actually not that hard to use. So, Ooh, cheesecake. Actually, no, that's strawberry shortcake and a strawberry roll cake. In case you haven't guessed, my food festival was a strawberry festival. Picture an entire halfling village spending an entire week celebrating strawberries. We're talking Bilbo Baggins' birthday party, 6 days long, with food and drink and everything else. One other quick one, I know a few people got a kick out of this. For my unassuming person, or my behind-the-scenes person article, in case you're not familiar, there is a wonderful but extremely dangerous website out there called Art Breeder that is filled with first of all, they are public domain images, available free to use images, but more importantly, you can take them in Art Breeder and you can grab two and quote unquote have children of those two, where it takes features from each of the two and creates a new third one. You can play around with some of the details. It analyzes the picture and lets you, change the size of the ears or the nose or the jaw or whatever. Yeah, it's dangerous because you can go in there deciding, okay, I need to go in there and get a portrait. 9 hours later, you've either, somebody I think actually said the other day, they went in there to get one portrait and came out with a dozen NPCs for their world. But yes, those of you who wonder, this is Patrick Stewart having been introduced to Art Breeder. Again, I was very happy to find him already in there, and somebody else close enough to him that I was able to make a few tweaks. But yes, that is definitely Patrick Stewart right there in the middle. In my world, he is Amaric Duncanson. So Patrick Stewart fans out there can enjoy that. Okay, 10 minutes to go. I'm not going to start another prompt. Sorry, Shyred, another sprint. But we do have time to do one more article reading if somebody wants to throw out one more article reading. Let's see. And we will be rating Hefe today when the time comes. He just started up live, but he won't start until the top of the hour. Articles, anybody? Come on. I need a volunteer. Either that or you're going to listen to me talk for 10 minutes about anything and nothing. So you might as well hear me talk about something useful. Dazzling Cat's always good for another link. Or Sharon, one or the other, either one of you. Sharon had her first foray into it. Let her start slowly and easily. Here's one, Kaleidoski. We have an article here, so let's see what we got. Okay, is this, I see it's a species article. Is it the, I assume this is the more recent, this is the bread for resource article, not the Apex Predator article. I'm assuming that, and if that's the case, then we're going to be eating bugs. Yay! Happy Sunday. We're going to read about the Kemruna Beetle, an insect species which is said to have the best meat on Rano. Is everybody ready? Okay, basic information. Growth rate and stages. Kemruna beetles start out as larvae with a length of about 20 centimeters and a diameter of about 5 centimeters. For those metrically challenged Americans out there, that translates to about 10 inches long and 2 inches across. Right? And that's the larva. Over the course of 8 years, they grow to a length of about 1.7 meters and a diameter of about 65 centimeters. Then they turn into a pupa and take approximately 6 years to transform into their... I never knew how to pronounce that word. The word is correct, but is it imago? Imago? It means adult. It's one of those words you read all the time and never actually have to actually say out loud. So let's see. So the mature larva is, again, for those metrically challenged, somewhere about 5 feet long and somewhere about 2 feet in diameter, a little under, give or take. Actually, a little over 2 feet in diameter. I'm doing these conversions in my head, so this guy's going to be yummy, though. I can see it coming. Dietary needs and habits. The larvae consume mostly leafy shrubbery, smaller succulents, and mushrooms. The diet of adult beetles also includes fruit and smaller insects. Additional information. Domestication. Almost all Kemruna beetles on modern Ranel are kept as cattle. They are descended from the domesticated Kemruna beetles, which are the survivors of the final war, had taken with them to the bomb shelters. And we do have a link on Final War. What was that little twitch? Come. Here we go. Final War. Zamruneki was a global war on Ranel that wiped out 97% of the ruled species and most of the ecosystem. That would be a final war, I guess, yeah. Okay, uses, products, and exploitation. As with all cattle the real Sioux keep, very little goes to waste when the animal is killed. This holds especially true for their prestigious breed of beetles. Products of Kemruna beetles are generally more expensive and less widely available than the equivalents created from the related species. Meat. Kemruna beetles are primarily bred for their meat, which is rich in protein and iron. The most popular cuts are the muscle strands which move the wings and those inside the femurs. To stimulate muscle growth, the beetles are kept active and given large spaces to run or fly in. They are also fed high-quality fruit and smaller feeder insects with the aim of improving the flavor of the meat. Internal organs. The beetle's organs are commonly prepared as stew or baked into pies. Oh, yummy. There are also various types of sausage based on specific organs. Hemolymph, the fluid in the beetle circulatory system, is a popular ingredient in soups and fitness drinks. Oh, doesn't this sound appealing, everybody? The outer chitin plating is broken into smaller pieces which are served as appetizers or prepared as salads. Oh, roach chips, yay! Fragments which are too small for that purpose are ground into a powder which serves as a base ingredient for various recipes. For example, this powder is used to make sauces, baked goods, or candy. Ooh, yummy. Wings. The soft inner wings are processed into chitin fibers which serve as a raw material for certain light and sturdy bricks. And the eggs, unfertilized eggs, are usually cooked and cut into thin slices, which are then prepared as salads or served as bread topping. Alright, is everybody hungry? Excellent article. I'm going to get back to the one question I have that I'll get to in a minute. I just want to finish. These things can live 170 years. Obviously, they just a quick note here. Obviously, they're not allowed if they're being bred in captivity for meat. They don't live that long. The question would be, though, how long after? I assume it's the mature animals that are harvested for meat. And if it is the mature animals, how long after they come out of the chrysalis? Are they fattened up? Before they're butchered? Would be something interesting to put in here. you have their height, you have their average length. Um, Looks like they stay about the same size as they were in the pupa. That's about right. Unless, I mean, unless they're molting or growing as they go, that would be reasonable. So the two questions I had, the two questions I have after the whole article, I didn't see any. By the way, I didn't catch any spelling or grammar, which is really good. Um, the only two questions I have are again one that I just mentioned, which is surely they don't fatten them up for 170 years. Um, is it 2 or 3 years, or you say there's a tooltip. The Earth equivalent is 20 years, 6 months in Earth time. Okay, so a year is different. So that explains all of these. Okay, so that's about a year. That's about 9 months. But even 20 years. I mean, you're not going to keep a cow. We don't raise a cow for 20 years that we're going to butcher. Um, if once they're adult, I mean, obviously the growth stages are different here. But when an adult meat steer, once it gets to adult size, you're fattening it up, and as soon as it's fat, you're harvesting it, because it costs money to keep them, and to keep them fed and keep them happy. So is that a year or two, an Earth year or two? Is it less or whatever? You might want to think about that. And the other thing is you actually you describe. You describe the length, and the size of the larvae and the pupae here. Um, do the larvae have 6 legs? Are they more like caterpillars, where they have a million little legs? No noticeable legs at all, like earth grubs. Little stubby legs, a little more descriptive. Since you mentioned the growth rate and stages, just a sentence or so describing the larvae, and more importantly, a small section describing what the adult looks like. I mean, I mean, obviously they're beetles. We all can envision a beetle. You do give the size information, which is good, but do they have the hard shell over their wings like most beetles do? What color are they? Do they have big jaws, little jaws? Just a few descriptive things about the creature itself is really the only thing that I think is missing from this. They're the luxury breed, the modern rails, to keep them alive quite long. So yeah, I mean, if that's the case, if it takes a while for them to be quote unquote properly fattened up, especially since you're again, you do mention that you're focusing on certain specific pieces of meat. So if they never fly, then they're not going to have developed wing muscles to harvest. But again, does it take an Earth year? How at what point in that 20 Earth years, do they become prime harvest? At what point do they become old and tough? If we're raising them for food, those are the questions that you'd ask. Again, think Earth animals. Right? If you're raising sheep for meat, or cows for meat, I mean, well, you got veal before they're even fully adult. You've got, but once you get into like if you're dealing with beef cattle, if you want juicy, tender steak, you feed them a lot. You don't want them walking around a lot because that toughens up the meat. So you want to harvest them at that magic point where they've had enough. They've eaten enough food to get nice and big and fat, and get some nice fat marbling in the meat and all that kind of good stuff. But before they've had a chance to toughen up all the muscles, so that everything ends up being too tough to cook and eat. Again, sheep, lamb is the younger the better. At some point it stops being lamb and starts being mutton, because the sheep is just use the muscles too long. So something like that would be interesting. Dazzly Cat suggests maybe a quote of somebody getting their first ever serving of beetle. keeping in mind that this is, I assume, a race of people that are used to, I mean, where this is a normal food crop, you wouldn't have the, unless I don't know enough about your world. Is this a closed world where these, um, your Ranal people are all there is, or is this a world in a larger universe? I don't know that, for example, a human would walk, would visit the planet and stop at a restaurant and ask for the delicacy and get this, but actually some sort of quote, maybe from somebody who could never afford the best, and finally has a chance to sit down to a meal of the best. Um, quotes tend to liven up the articles a lot. Um, but again, that's a suggestion, and if your style is not to do that, then ignore that suggestion. Um, so that's it. Like I said, I mean the article, it's clean, it's thorough, it certainly again hits the prompt, and we are gonna give that a like, and then we're going to. Oh, I'm already following you. How about that? And I see we've run over a minute or two, so with that, we are going to wrap up. Is there anything else I missed here? There's the tooltip. Do they stop growing as they age? Yeah, that's another interesting question. Being hard-shelled, if they continued growing, they'd have to molt. And if they did, what would you do with the outer, with the discarded shells? Thought about describing their appearance, but need to brainstorm a bit on it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be huge, stupidly detailed either. I mean, just a couple of, godlike color. Like I said, we all know what a beetle looks like. So if it looks like, you can rely on that and just fill in the details. Is it green? Is it brown? Is it, red with polka dots? Is it something else? Okay, so that's basically that. All right, we are going to be rating Hefe. My raid call is Trample with as many. Come on, thank you. With as many A's and M's as you would prefer, like that, for example. Feel free to throw in, those of you who can, feel free to throw in an emote of your choice or two, Sue, as well. And I want to thank everybody. Let me just do a quick look to make sure I didn't miss anything that needs to be thanked before we go. There's a raid, there's an article, there's a hydrate, there's an article. I think that's it from my channel stream. So with that, let us head off and join the fuzzy one. We will start the raid. Thank you all for coming. I'll be back here on Tuesday with more reading and more word sprints. And enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. And here we go.